Imagine a scenario where a nation's internal struggles spill across borders, impacting its neighbors. That's the situation the Trump administration faced with Venezuela, leading to a series of controversial decisions. President Trump openly confirmed authorizing covert CIA operations within Venezuela, and even hinted at the possibility of land strikes. But here's where it gets controversial: the justification and legality of such actions. Was it a necessary measure to protect American interests, or an overreach of power with potentially destabilizing consequences? According to Trump, these actions were prompted by two primary concerns: the influx of migrants, including released prisoners, and the flow of illegal drugs from Venezuela into the United States. He stated in the Oval Office, responding to reporter inquiries, that Venezuela had emptied their prisons into the United States of America through the border, and that a lot of drugs are coming in from Venezuela through the sea. He insisted that they would halt these flows by land as well, suggesting a more aggressive strategy. The New York Times first reported on these covert CIA operations, but specifics remain classified. When questioned about whether the CIA had been authorized to take out Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, Trump dismissed the query as ridiculous. However, he did acknowledge that Venezuela is feeling heat, and implied that other nations should expect similar pressure if they threatened U.S. interests. And this is the part most people miss: the implications for international relations. If the U.S. can unilaterally authorize covert actions in another country, what's to stop other nations from doing the same? Trump's administration also signaled a more aggressive approach to combating drug cartels, including potential land strikes. Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control, Trump stated, suggesting a shift in strategy. This followed the release of a video by Trump and then Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth depicting a lethal strike on an alleged Venezuelan drug boat. Since September 2nd, the Trump administration had ordered military strikes on at least 5 boats in the Caribbean Sea, claiming they were carrying drugs to the U.S. However, the administration provided no concrete evidence to support these claims, raising serious legal and ethical questions. The use of lethal military force against suspected drug boats is unprecedented, with previous administrations relying on law enforcement agencies like the Coast Guard for interdiction. ABC News raised legal concerns about these strikes, questioning whether they align with international law and rules of engagement. During the Oval Office event, Trump was pressed on the evidence used to identify these boats as drug-carrying vessels. While he insisted that the administration was certain of their assessment, he did not offer any specific proof. When asked why the Coast Guard wasn't handling the situation, Trump replied, "Because we've been doing that for 30 years, and it has been totally ineffective." He went on to say that the drug cartel speedboats are no match for missiles, implying a need for escalated force. This raises several critical questions. Was the threat from Venezuela truly significant enough to warrant covert CIA operations and potential land strikes? Was the evidence of drug trafficking and prisoner release sufficient to justify such actions? And perhaps most importantly, what are the long-term consequences of setting this precedent for U.S. foreign policy? What will be the impact on the relationship between the U.S. and Venezuela? Is this a justifiable defense of national interest or an act of aggression against a sovereign nation? We want to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with the Trump administration's actions, or do you believe they crossed a line? Share your perspective in the comments below.